Good morning, everybody. Judea Hartley here. Welcome back into the one and the only AM show. Happy Wednesday to all of my brothers and sisters watching. I hope you're looking good, feeling good, and all of the things. And if you aren't, you are getting ready to feel so much better because at the top of the show, we teased that we had a flat out fantastic guest. And you guys, I am excited for today's guest. Her name is Candace Denise. She is in Baltimore. Oh yeah, girl. And she is an author, a motivational speaker, a life coach, just a wellness specialist, all of the things. I've been supporting her content for a couple of years now. And honey, when I get down, I can always count on my girl Candice to pull me right back up. So further ado, wherever you are, please infuse that enthusiasm and show your love for Miss Candace Denise. Yes. Hi, Candace.
Hey, how you doing, Janine? It's good to be here.
Oh, God, it's so good to have you. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. I know that you are incredibly busy, and I just am appreciative that you just carved out time to just sit and chat with us. All things wellness, faith, and just really accountability and healing. Everything that you do so well, my sister. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate being here.
Yes. Okay, so Candace, I cannot wait, honey, to pick your brain. So disclaimer, I have been in therapy for over 3 years. I just think that healing is incredible. And in your intro, I mentioned that you were an author, that you were a motivational speaker, just so many incredible things that you are. So let's start right at the top of this mountain. Let's start with your book. I know that you are the author of Self-Care for Busy People. Okay, Candace, I love that. Tell us all about that book and what inspired you to curate that title and that message. Why was that so needed?
Yeah, so honestly, I felt like just where we are in a society, or as a society, we're always on the go. And when you're thinking about putting a book together, and then this particular book is an ebook, you want something that's going to capture the reader's attention. And you also want something that's relatable, that they immediately can identify with. And I know for myself and the communities that I'm within, everyone is doing something, whether it's with their family, with their business, with their career. Like, we're all just in this very hustle and bustle culture. And so it seemed like the perfect title to give a book and to talk about how you can still take care of you, because quite often we think that because we don't have enough time that we don't have the time to take care of us. And the thing is, it's not about finding more time, but rather how do you utilize the time that you have so that you can still take care of you without sacrificing you.
Oh, I love that. You can still take care of you without sacrificing you. So oh God, I love that, Candace. One of the reasons why I was so intrigued, girl, by your book is because it really spoke to those folks who do so many things, who seriously, Candace, who multitask. You are a business owner, you're a mom, you're a wife, you're a pastor, you're a student, you have your job. Like, you can really go crazy if you are not... You really can if you are not careful. And what I'm getting out of, this is like a little therapy session for me right now, and I'm excited. What I'm currently getting out of is this people pleasing and overextending myself, right? Like, let's say that you don't see my worth or my value. Candace, what I used to do, I used to assume the responsibility to convince you of it, convince you of the worth, convince you of the value. I used to try to do backflips and splits just to really show my value and who I am and how I can make your life better. Girl, I am so glad that I don't do that anymore. And I love that you help people get over that. So we're going to go a little bit further. Tell me what inspired you to become a motivational speaker, because you are just that.
So it's funny, I don't feel like I actually wanted to go into that route. It was one of those things where I felt led, or I was called to do it. And As a child, I used to get in trouble in school for talking too much. Like that was my thing. And so not realizing that it was going to be my voice that would ultimately become my gift. So the thing that I probably would get in trouble for was actually formulating into my gift. And so I did not realize that my entire life, I've always just been a motivational type of person, to my friends, to my family. Like I always tell people, don't come around me if you don't want to be motivated. Not even trying to, just I want to shed encouragement into someone else. I want to give that to them. And I just naturally am that person. And so as I continue to just elevate and grow in my career and in my life, this whole title of motivational speaker kind of came to me because people were saying, hey, would you come and talk to us in a motivational way? Would you come share some of that encouragement over here? And it was one of those things where I was like, oh, I guess I'm a motivational speaker. So I'd never sought it out. It was always just a part of me. I just didn't realize that's what it was until people started kind of saying to me, hey, can you do, give me a little bit of that? Can you help motivate me a little bit? And so it's been beautiful to see how it's evolved over the years.
Oh my goodness, I love that, especially when you mention it was what I was punished for. That's the very thing that turned out to actually be my gift. What they crucified me for, right? Like now they're like praising it and shouting, come on, Candace, shouting Hosanna. I get it. So wait, I love that. And you also mentioned that you've naturally always been this sort of like encourager, which I love. You definitely need that positivity to rub off on you. I'm curious, was there a pivotal moment in your life that actually propelled you into the space that you're in now? More specifically, what I mean, was there some type of trauma, Candice, or some type of agony, come on girl, that you've been through that actually thrusted, that's the word, thrusted you into your destiny? Because I know for me it was. I'm like, no, I wasn't always like this, honey. I almost lost my mind, and then I called on the name of Jesus, and then he really healed me and helped me, and now I'm becoming this new woman. I'm curious if you had a similar experience.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I've had multiple throughout my kind of life. But one that I feel like has helped me to get to where I am now is the healing of a relationship with my dad. I was in for a very long time a toxic relationship. And so we were not in a good place. And for a lot of years, I resented him. I harbored a lot of anger and emotions. And it just got to a place one day where we, as I like to say, had a breakdown before we had a breakthrough. And to the point that we exchanged words that I never would have thought my father and I would have been in this kind of moment. But it was heated, and it was heated enough that one of my brothers had to step in and like take my father to the side and have a conversation with him to say, I don't know if you realize basically how you just spoke to your daughter, but that was uncalled for. And it really just brought a lot of things to light for me that I am not well in many ways. And it's because of this relationship right here that has affected me. And so I needed to get to a better place for myself. I needed to find a way to forgive and let go and work through this, because if not, it was going to continue to hold me back.
Wow.
And so I'm grateful because through therapy, much like yourself, through Jesus as well, and through having a open and honest, and I mean very raw and real conversation with my father, because he was finally in a place to have the conversation to hear me. And I was in a place to hear him, because we are, as much as we were different, we were alike in many ways. And so I needed to work on that. And so we did. And we spent the last 4 years of his life working through that relationship. And it was amazing to see how the one person probably in my life that I could not stand turned out to be the person in my life that I wanted to be around. And it was very much poetic. And in his last hours, I was the last person he was with.
Wow.
And so it was very much like he saved this last dance for me.
Wow.
And it made me see what forgiveness was about, like learning to forgive someone. And even one of those people being myself, learning what forgiveness looked like for me.
Wow. How powerful is that? First of all, thank you for sharing that. That was intimacy. And if you, Candice, you know this, if you say, I got this from TD Jakes, honestly, if you say intimacy very slowly, it's into
Yes.
me.
Yes.
You get to
Yes.
see. So every time someone steps out, takes that initiative of bravery to tell me something or to share a vulnerable point of their life before I respond, I acknowledge that they just did that. Thank you so much for sharing that. You telling that story, Candace, that actually contributed to my healing journey, because what I'm currently, to summarize it in about 10 seconds, I am trying to work my way out of anger. I am, and God is so good. He is helping me with that thing. But she is so right about really not running from that, really unpacking that. Because honey, if you don't unpack that, you're gonna show up to healthy relationships. You got a duffel bag, you got a fanny pack, you got luggage, you got an over-the-shoulder bag. You have so much baggage, and you don't even realize it. And Candace, you will contaminate. You will contaminate these beautiful relationships that God has presented to you, but you don't have the emotional capacity to steward over that. So essentially, you're going to fumble it. So I love that. Forgiveness doesn't necessarily mean fellowship, but forgiveness does mean acknowledging what happened, how you felt, and your will to move forward.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
your will.
Absolutely.
Yes, I love that. So that was, just perfect segue, because Candace, you not only have your book, you have Self-Care for Busy People. It's like a card deck. I want you to explain that product to me. I'm a product girl. Tell me what you got going on.
So I have, what I created was the Self-Care Life. It's a card deck that I wanted to be not just a stack of affirmations or a deck of affirmations, but rather a deck of actions. Because I'm a big person on, we can speak things, but we also have to do things, right?
Yeah.
And so we have to be very bold and take decisive action when it comes to taking care of ourselves. And so I know sometimes it's easier said than done. And so I felt like, what if I put a deck together of just 25 cards, nothing extensive. I like to keep things very simple. If you've seen my social media, I'm a very simple, keep it easy, kind of, Baltimorean girl. And so I said, put something simple together that people could carry in their purse, in their pocket, wherever, and have something that they can pull every day that could guide them on what they could do to take care of themselves that day. Versus trying to say, well, what is something I can do to feed me? What is something I can do to take care of me? You can just go to your deck and pull out a card. And the card may say, take a few moments to step away from the computer or step away from your work and go, stand outside and get some fresh air, or go take a small walk. Sometimes it's not that we don't want to do things, we don't know what to do. And so I felt like putting something together, instead of just saying, take care of yourself, take care of yourself. It's like, well, give someone a tool so that they can do it.
Yes. Oh my goodness, Candace, that was confirmation. I'll chit chat with you off camera, girl. I have your number, but that was confirmation. God was speaking to you just now, and I believe that through you to me, because I'm actually working on a similar project. So I understand that sometimes we know what we need, but we don't always know how to get there. And people always just preach, get there, but you're not telling me how. You're telling me the strategy. You're not conveying the tactics, okay? But how do we get there? So I want to know, how do you get to where you are? Meaning, let's go really explicitly. What is a day-to-day like? What is that day-to-day routine like? What does that look like for you? Like, what is your morning routine? Like, Candace, for me this morning, I'm a pastor, but every morning I don't read my Bible. I'll listen to some gospel music because, girl, my flesh will show up by itself, and it's not good. It's not good. It's not good. So I read a scripture today. I calmed myself today, got some coffee, prayed, put on my little gospel music. So I don't come off as raw. That's what I did. What's your morning routine like?
So one thing about me, no day looks the same. So I always tell people that I have a routine, but I've got I allow my routine to be flexible
Huh.
because I don't want to get bored with it. So when it comes to my morning routine, it doesn't have to be the same thing the same way every day. The only thing I'm committed to is making sure that I pour into me before I go try to pour into anyone else. So before I step into my day, I need to step into myself. Like I need to check inward. So like this morning, for instance, got up and I tend to pray before I get out the bed, before my feet hit the floor, just giving reverence and thanks for being able to even be awake another day. And then I got up and I went to the gym. And so if I'm not at the gym, I'm out doing a morning walk. Like one of the two have to happen because I had to retrain my brain that my physical wellness is a priority. And so every day I have to move my body in some type of way. And I'm not the gym rat girl. Like I'm not the girly that's like, go hard at the gym. I just believe go in there and do what you need to do for you.
Right.
But I wanted to make sure that I'm taking care of my body as well as my mind and my spirit. So I went to the gym and then I stopped and grabbed breakfast and I actually sat in my car because it was such a beautiful morning and just rolled the windows down, let the air come in, just taking in some quiet time. There was no phone, there was no radio, it was just quiet time because the world can get really busy and really noisy and sometimes we just need quiet. And so I did that and then I came back and I showered and I got ready for today for our segment here because I have a full day, but throughout the day I will take these moments to step away and breathe.
Yes.
I will take moments to make sure I fuel myself with food or with water. I will take moments to just stretch, you know, because if you're sitting at your desk and I'm doing a lot of video calls today, I need a moment to just continue to take care of me throughout the day. And so that's what today looks like. But tomorrow could be something entirely different based on what I need that day.
I love that. Oh my goodness. So refreshing. You guys, we have to take a quick commercial break, but please, we want your face to be in a place. Hold on to your seats because we aren't going anywhere, y'all. After this commercial break, we have part 2 of this interview with the author, the wellness specialist, the motivational coach, just all of the things. We're going to head on over to a quick commercial break right now, but don't you go anywhere because there is more of Candace Denise when we come back. Keep it locked. It's the AM Show. There she is. That is our beautiful, smart, and intelligent guest this morning, my new good friend, Candace Denise. Welcome back to the show, Candace, and to all of our viewers, welcome back as well. All right, y'all, so if you are just now tuning in, bittersweet, bitter because you missed the first part, but sweet because we got some more juice lined up for you. If you didn't catch the first part of that interview, Candace is a motivational speaker, wellness specialist, life coach, author, just all of the things that we need. So right now she's my therapist. So Candace, I have some hard-hitting questions that I'd like to ask you. As I mentioned, I really take full satisfaction in your content that you post on Instagram. It always makes me reflect. Sometimes it makes me cry. It always makes me worship. It always makes me think about what I could have done better, what I did do well, what I need to work on. I mean, it's just really well-rounded, quality-filled content. So with all that being said, I want to start off with my fire questions. So Candace, as a wellness coach, I have this question. Why do you think most people are so judgmental?
Ooh, good question. I think that a lot of times we are judgmental because we don't know differently. I think a lot of times we are raised certain ways and subconsciously things stick with us. You know, when we are younger, we're told to be in healthy competition with others. And so that sticks with you. But as you grow and as you evolve, and the fact that we now have this exposure to social media, we can see more, we start to compare our lives to others. And so when our lives don't look like someone else's life, we tend to feel this level of judgment. You know, we start to judge it because we believe that the life that we've been, you know, created to have or that we've worked to have. That's how life should be. And a lot of times, again, how we're raised tends to stick with us in a lot of ways and times. And we don't always do the work of stepping outside of our own box to see that life is different for other people and that there's not one way to live. And so I think that when we assume that there's one way to live, which is our own, because that's all we know, we put that onus on everyone else, that they should live according to our box versus taking a moment to step outside your box and seeing how they live in theirs.
Oh my goodness. Wait, Candace, you just took me all the way to church. Let the church say amen, because girl, I feel that way too. But I didn't have the language. See, that's why you always got to be a student. I didn't have the language. I'm just like, okay, you do it that way. That doesn't mean that Candace is right. That doesn't mean just because I do it a different way that your way is better, that your way is superior. It's actually, let me add to that goodness that you just conveyed. It's actually ego and pride to think it is, Candace, girl. That's egotistical though, for you to assume that your way is the better way, or for you to not be willing to step out of oneself to get to learn about somebody else's culture, their mindset, why they are the way they are, and why they do the things they do. It's like you're not even willing to be open to another way of living, and I don't like that. I don't like that. Right. That's where that segregation and that superiority, that's where that comes from. It's true. It's true. You're absolutely right. Okay, next fireside question. How do we navigate adult friendships in a healthy way?
Ooh, I just had this conversation yesterday, so this is great. I think the best way to navigate adult friendships in a healthy way is to check in. Friendships are relationships. And the same way that you do in relationships, you try to check in with your partner, your spouse, to see where you are. Are we still on the same playing field? I think that it's the same with friendships, because especially if it's been a friendship that you've had for a really long time, people grow, people evolve, and that's not a bad thing. We should be allowed to grow. We should be able to give ourselves the grace to grow. And so as you have adult friendships, it's important to check in to say, are we still on the same playing field? Do we still share the same core values in our friendship, right? Are we still the same? And as it was mentioned to me yesterday from a therapist, which I loved, she said it's about understanding the pyramid and seeing where your friendships lie on the pyramid. And sometimes some friendships will change places. Yeah. And I think that's a part of navigating adult friendships, is being okay with if that friendship has changed places in your life. So maybe that was a person that you felt more of a confidant or a confidant kind of relationship with, but whereas though now in this season you don't feel that, doesn't mean that you love this person any less or you want to be friends less. It's just that as you've changed, the friendship may have changed a bit too. And so I think that's why it's important to check in with each other.
Ooh, I love that. Seasons, respecting the seasons. And Candace, you would appreciate this, I believe, as a wellness specialist, because that's really what you have been for me as well. I feel like that sometimes a person or a place works for you when you're in a broken space. When it's true, when you're in a broken space, it's like, okay, that worked for me back then, but it doesn't work for me now. And I also feel like you have to acknowledge that evolution, and you have to make time. That's what Candice was talking about with like self-care for busy people. Oh, I don't have enough time. No. You got to prioritize. You have to carve out. You better curate that time. It's a non-negotiable.
That's right.
You got to create time for your friendships, because you create time for your man. Don't get me started. You create time for you really do. So you got to create time for your friendships as well. Respond to what's important to them. I love that. I love that. Okay, next fireside question. How should we, because I don't know if I did this the right way, how should we deal with people who ghost us?
Ooh, oh my gosh. So it's funny because it depends on, I think, the circumstance. I don't feel like one way applies to everything, because depending on the circumstance, the ghosting may have been necessary. The way they exited may have been necessary.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that might have been, as I like to say, what you may feel is rejection is God's protection. So it very well may needed to have happened that way. But if there is this, uneasy feeling as to why someone ghosted you, the only thing that I know to tell people is to go, as my grandmother would say, hear it from the horse's mouth. Go to this person and say, I'm curious, as to why maybe you decided to, walk away without saying anything or not give any explanation or any rhyme, any reason. That person may or may not give it to you. And so in that moment, you have to understand they have the right to. It doesn't make it necessarily fair or right, but they have the right to respond or say yes or no as to why they did or didn't. And so if they don't, then you have to take it upon yourself to figure out how to move forward, although they've ghosted you. And that's where that self-work has to happen. We can't control others. We can only control ourselves. And so if you're curious, that, ask. But also discern the situation and see, is this really something that I needed to know why they ghosted? Because if you're not trying to reestablish a connection with this person or a relationship or a friendship, then ask yourself, with me knowing, if they do answer, am I able to handle what the answer is going to be?
I like that. I like that you mentioned that it's circumstantial. I believe that if someone has been good to you, I mean, really, really, really good to you, and you wanted to exit the relationship, that is certainly your prerogative. You have every right to do that for whatever reason. You just got to be careful on how you do that, because you definitely, you definitely reap what you sow. I'm not talking about they were abusive and, it's really toxic and you got to get out. I love what Candace said. It's circumstantial. We're not talking about those toxic people. I'm talking about these people were good to you. I mean, good to you consistently. This thing was consecutive. You got to be careful of how you're doing what you're doing. You could do it, but you got to be careful of how you're doing that. Love that. Right. All righty, let's keep this fire rolling. Please define a narcissistic person and tell us, how should we deal with them?
Oh my gosh. So, this is such a buzzword these days, and I feel like there's so many definitions out there. And I personally feel like someone who ultimately plays the victim or makes you feel like the wrongdoing that they've put onto you, that they've extended to you, is your fault in some way or shape or form. These people don't want to take accountability. They can never see their faults or their flaws in this. And so that to me is this narcissistic, where you're trying to make me seem like I'm the one who did the wrong, and you're trying to flip the table, or you're trying to gaslight me into believing that I in some kind of way created this issue, because ultimately you don't want to take onus or accountability that you were the one. And how we deal with that, of course, I feel like is creating boundaries. And boundaries are not about others. They are about managing you. And so you have to assess, again, every situation is different, but you have to assess when enough is enough for you in dealing with a narcissist, right? When have you had your enough? And then what are you willing to do to protect yourself in that situation? So what does that boundary look like? Does that mean that, I can't communicate with this person, or I need to make it clear to them that I don't appreciate this, and that if they continue to talk to me this way, that they will not be able to have a relationship with me, right? Whether friendship, familyship, whatever that looks like. And so being clear about what your boundaries are, I think, is one of the best ways to deal with it. Now, again, there are always these extreme cases. So I never, everything is circumstantial. So I don't feel like one answer applies to everything, but in people who are not, I like to say the extreme cases, I think putting these healthy boundaries in place for yourself are the best way to deal with them. But those extreme cases, sometimes you just got to be like, I ain't got nothing to say. I just need to find my peace, and I just need to cut this all together.
I love that. I love that, because I always say boundaries are going to protect me and you. I say that, Candace. It's true. Let's learn to really, really formulate boundaries. It's going to protect you, and it's going to protect me. It's going to protect our relationship dynamic. So let's stop straying away from boundaries or trying our best to tear down other people's boundaries. Love that, love that, love that. Totally concur. You mentioned on your Instagram, I love this quote. You quoted, "All wellness is not created equal." What do you mean by that?
I mean, when your friend is joining the run club and you know that that is not something that you're into, do not feel forced to have to join a run club or a Pilates class or a cycle class. Like, nothing against, I think these are all great ways to take care of yourself. But I think it's important to understand that nothing is one size fits all when it comes to wellness. So just because someone meditates, right, or you see your favorite online influencer or creator and they say they get up every morning and they meditate with the sun coming up, and you try it and it does nothing for you, that's okay.
Right.
Because it works for them. Because again, you don't know the totality of that person's life. You don't know why they need to do the wellness that they're doing the way that they're doing it. And so instead of trying to take something that you see that's popular or something that you see everyone doing, or feel guilted into doing it because everyone else is, becoming whatever.
Yeah.
Find your own rhythm and routine to, how do I need to take care of me? Because what I need is not necessarily what someone else needs. The goal is just that you're taking care of yourself. How you do that is totally fine if it's different than others.
It's so true. I love that. It's not a one size fit all. Candace, you are so inspiring, and I know that you are a faith believer. I know I have to let you go in just a minute or two, but I'm really curious. How has God really influenced the content that you post?
Oh my goodness. So honestly, I do not create without praying about it first. So at one point in time, I used to just sit down and try to come up with what I thought people wanted to hear or what they needed to hear. And although that worked to a certain degree, I realized that the only reason I have the voice that I have, the ability to speak or to pour into anyone, this gift, is because it was given to me from the Creator, right? God gave me this gift. And so I need to seek the one who gave it to me on what it is that you feel like I need to say. I know that there are certain people that are assigned to my voice. That is why my community has Who's in It. And so I need to seek out, what is it that you want to use me as the vessel to say to people that need to hear it? And so God has definitely influenced my content, because that is who I'm seeking on the content. Whereas though before it was just, a solo kind of thing. Now it's like we're partnered up, and I'm like, okay, you give me the green light. You think this is something, and then I go and create it.
I love that. I love that. And then see, when we seek, you're so right. When we seek and acknowledge, then we will find. When we seek and acknowledge and come out of flesh and really do it for the right reasons, we're not doing it for clickbait or to get more money or to get more viewership. That's when God really blows on it, and it becomes more successful than you could even fathom, when you really die to your flesh. It's so true. Oh my goodness. Candace, this has been a joy. It has been a pleasure. I am super stoked that I was able to connect with such a powerful, intelligent, beautiful woman. We need that positivity. We need that sincere sisterhood to be formed and stewarded over. But I want other people to experience that as well. So I want you to tell all of our viewers what passion projects you have coming up, if any, and where they can find you on social media.
Yeah, so they can always find me on Instagram at Candace Denise. I'm Candace with an I. And on TikTok, I am by Candace. So that's BY, Candace Denise. And the passion projects that I'm working on, which I'm super excited, I'm hosting my very first women's wellness retreat this December. And so we're going to spend a week in Tulum, Mexico, working on our wellness and really our personal growth and self-development. So I'm really excited about that. My first of many retreats to come. And then also I am working on my first hard copy book, I guess my first published book outside of an ebook. And so I'm in the process of writing that right now. So I'm really excited about finishing this and being able to put it out to the world, and, hoping that it will be a way to help people in their own places and spaces in life.
Oh my goodness. I love that. Y'all give it up for the one and the only Miss Candace Denise, everybody. Woo! Candace, I I thank you. I thank you. I thank you. I thank you so much. Please keep doing everything that you're doing, from the coaching to writing your book to the wellness retreat. Just please continue to walk this path, because you are serving as an incredible agent of change for me and for so many other brothers and sisters out there. I'm just so excited that we had this sacred time to just really do a one-on-one, certainly the highlight of my morning. One more time, let's show our love for Miss Candace Denise. Thank you so much, Candace.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Have a blessed day. Oh, I love it. I live, y'all. All right, folks, we're going to head on over to a quick commercial break, but don't you go anywhere, because we have so much more of the AM show when we return. Keep it locked.